Man, the Green Bay Packers are going to have to go out there and compete. I mean, just because he got hurt doesn't stop the franchise from investing 2 first-round draft picks and Kenny Clark in order for this team to get put over the top. Welcome to the In My Defense podcast, where we chop it up about sports, culture, and life the way it was meant to be discussed. Bold takes, thoughtful analysis, and real talk. Nothing's personal, but in my defense, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. A lot to get to in the world of sports. We have a freshly minted Heisman Trophy winner. The college football playoff is set. And of course, we're getting down to the great playoff chase in the NFL. December football, nothing like it. And of course, if we're going to get into sports and the intersection of life, I got to bring in my frat brother who always keeps me grounded in my real life, Mr. Quentin Wright McDuffie, marketing extraordinaire and part-time podcast host. Q, what up?
What's good, Brody? Brody, what's good? How you?
I'm good, man. Getting ready for parenthood. My wife is 37 weeks preggers, and so that kid is literally any day now. So we just got the finishing touches on the nursery, and we're super excited about it. But I will say this. The plan that we put in place, I know, has to be, as Stephen A says, fluid, because I know this little Bambino is going to hit us in the mouth. I know that there's nothing you can do to get you ready for what you don't know, which is being a first-time parent.
Listen, it is no rubric. Just have fun, enjoy the ride, know that love is all you need. It sounds sweet and it sounds like a song, but is little Canty over there being jelly bean in Mel's stomach?
Man, listen, he's like a watermelon in Mel's stomach right now. Like little homie is big right now. Yesterday was my wife's birthday. Not gonna tell you how old she is because nobody ever does that. But I will say this: we were out, fancy restaurant in New York City, and we had that rich, decadent food. And I'm gonna tell you this right now: my son is a little bougie because as soon as he had some of that foie gras that my wife was eating, he started bouncing in her belly. So I just know that the regular eats is not going to get it done for the Bambino. This kid is all about the upper echelon.
Okay, so straight T-bones, tomahawks.
Yeah.
We going there. We going straight to tomahawks. That's what you're telling me.
He's straight to Del Frisco's and Morton's and all of that stuff. That's where he at with it.
Okay. Listen, young Canty, we gonna get you right. You gonna have fun out here in these streets, but we gotta get to some sports. But we gonna talk more about the babies.
You better pay some rent. He talking about eating all that like that. You better pay some rent. You better kick in.
Listen, I'll tell you the first thing you're gonna learn about parenthood. You ain't never gonna not spend your money on them. I tell you that. You're always gonna be spending your dime. But let's talk about some people that hit really big this year because they did not know the Knicks was gonna win that NBA Cup. Listen, a couple days ago, I believe it was Tuesday, the New York Knicks defeated the San Antonio Spurs 124-113 to become the third NBA Cup championship, the champion winners. They pulled away in the second half because that was an amazing game, but they pulled away in the second half. Jalen Brunson, 33 points, 6 assists throughout the 6 games of the NBA Cup. Canty, I'm pretty sure you watched that game and every game of the whole NBA Cup series. What did you think about it?
Man, first of all, I came away thinking that if Wemby can play in the majority of the games, if he can meet that 65-game threshold when it comes to postseason accolades, he's going to be the MVP in perpetuity. There's no other player in the NBA that's capable of being the best player on the court against any opponent on the offensive end and on the defensive end. This dude is incredible, man. I mean, hitting 25-foot step-back threes is just out of pocket. When Mitchell Robinson was in single coverage on him, there was nothing that he could do to hold him. About the best thing that could happen is that the New York Knicks were great in terms of taking advantage of the minutes that Wemby wasn't on the court. But then actually when he was in the game, they were able to get up and down the court and get a lot of opportunities in transition. So good on Jalen Brunson, good on Tyler Kolek, those guys for being able to push the pace. The one thing that I will say about how the Knicks played in that game against the Spurs is the fact that Mike Brown, unlike Tom Thibodeau, trusts the depth on this team. He relied on Mitchell Robinson. He played 18 minutes. He relied on Tyler Kolek and Jordan Clarkson, both of those guys north of 20 minutes played. Also, both of those guys in double-figure scoring. So I thought that was really good in terms of how they approached it. They were dominant on the boards. out-rebounded San Antonio 59-42. So if the Knicks are going to do that, if they're going to get stops, if they're going to rebound and get out in transition, I think that bodes well for them in terms of being able to find easy offense once we get into the playoffs. And that's something that they struggled with. So I think that's the thing that I noticed the biggest difference in what allowed them to compete against a team like San Antonio, their ability to be able to get stops and then get out in transition and run, but also their ability to be able to trust their depth. Remember, end of the third quarter, the Knicks were down by double digits, and it was Tyler Kolek that was the one that was leading the charge when they had that 13-2 run from the end of the third to the beginning of the fourth. So they have a few guys on this team that are capable of being a spark plug, and head coach Mike Brown is empowering those guys to make those types of plays. And that is a departure from what we've seen from the Knicks teams under Tibbs in the past.
Like you said, getting play off the bench, allowing your starters to rest. And then once again, the rebounding game, 32 points off of 23 offensive rebounds.
Ooh, say that again. Say that again.
32 points off of 23 offensive rebounds, brother. Yeah. And 10 came from Mitchell Robinson. Coming in, getting the boards, making second chance points. You are always going to win when you can give yourself a second opportunity at the misses. And then also, like you said, those 6, 7 men, those 8 men off the bench. Jordan Clarkson, I've always been a fan of him when he's from the Cavaliers. He is.
If he don't do
when
nothing,
he was on the Lakers, he was a bucket. That's one thing he'll do. He got 6 men of the year a couple years ago. I know he hasn't turned on automatically like a lot of the Knicks fans would have wanted just straight off go, but I think we're seeing him round off his game to be able to fit with this team. Yeah. Again, this is his first year with the team. Yeah. So he's getting used to it, used to his role. But my guy, Mike Brown, you're doing an amazing job coaching. I think the New York fan base is excited. But what do you think about, ownership saying they're not going to raise that banner?
Oh man, that was the move. That was the plug. Don't raise the banner. Be better than what the Bucks and the Lakers did. You don't need to raise no banner, man. What you raising the banner for? In-season tournament, congratulations. They all they amount to is regular season wins. Now, it's good experience to have, because at some point the in-season tournament becomes a single elimination tournament. And so you're glad that your guys feel that type of pressure. Remember, the Indiana Pacers were in the Cup Finals 2 years ago, and they were able to parlay that into an appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost to the Boston Celtics, but the following year, they made it to the NBA Finals. Last year, the Oklahoma City Thunder made it to the Cup Finals, lost to the Milwaukee Bucks. But what happened? They had that experience. They utilized that knowledge base. And remember, when they were going through the Western Conference playoffs, they had a couple of Game 7s that they were able to have the confidence to perform and execute in because they had that experience in the in-season tournament. So I do think there's something to be gleaned from it, but I just don't understand why everybody wants to jump to the place of we got to raise a banner for it. I get the NBA wants to make it a big deal. I get that Adam Silver wants fans of basketball to have something to look forward to this time of year. So in a roundabout way, raising the banner just perpetuates the idea that this is something that's big, but it's a regular season game. It counts the same as the other 81 games. So I can't go to the place of you needing to raise a banner for it.
1973 is a long time.
I understand that. I get it. That was the Nixon administration. I get it. My point is this. You should only raise a banner for winning the last game of the season, whenever that is. So if your team wins the last game of the season, you can raise a banner. Unless and until, nothing's going in the rafters. That's just my personal opinion.
Last year, you talked about OKC losing in the Cup and then winning the championship, as we know. Yep. Let's talk real quick about the Spurs and that young core of Castle, Harper, Wemby. You even got De'Aaron Fox. You still got
you got Devin Vassell.
Yeah, but you still got vets over there still to make it. You got Barnes right there still being able to ball, bringing up that Golden State Warrior legacy and that championship pedigree. These younger teams, it's always closing the deal. OKC in the past, they couldn't close the deal. Losing in this Cup, I think there's going to be some lessons in this. For you, what do you see this Spurs team being maybe in the next year? Say 2.
Well, I mean, the one thing that we learned is that they're an actual team. Even when Wemby was out, the San Antonio Spurs more than held their own. They had a pretty decent record. And so I think the most important thing to keep in mind with San Antonio is that this is a balanced roster and that they're going to be tough outs for everybody. They got guys that are dynamic in the backcourt. They can go with that 3-guard look and give opposing teams hell. And they got the ultimate eraser, which is Victor Wembanyama. He's going to be in the paint. Then all of a sudden you can be a lot more aggressive when it comes to your defense on the perimeter, guarding the 3-point line, keeping from teams from being able to get that swing advantage by being able to get wide open looks. So your spacing defensively completely changes. And when you have 3 guards that you're confident in playing at the same time, and those guys know how to play off of each other defensively, that gives you a lot of opportunities to be aggressive and to get stops, and more importantly, to get turnovers that get you out in transition and create fast break scoring opportunities. In today's NBA, it's all about trying to find easy offense. And the best way to do that, as far as I'm concerned, is getting stops on the defensive end. And Victor Wembanyama makes it really, really easy for the San Antonio Spurs to do that.
Now, before we jump in the gridiron, I told you when I was in Turks and Caicos. You remember I told you one team to look out for was these Spurs.
I didn't think they were ready, bro. I didn't think they were ready. But when they took out Oklahoma City in the Cup semifinals, I said, okay, maybe. Okay, maybe they can get there by the end of the season. They're not there now. And the great part about what's going to happen over the next week and a half is that we're going to see OKC in San Antonio not once, but twice, including on Christmas Day. So we'll have a chance to be able to measure it up. And you got to think that OKC wants to send a statement that what happened last week was a fluke. So I'm excited about these 2 games that we have coming up the week of Christmas with San Antonio and OKC getting it on.
Yeah, I think sometimes you could be so young, you don't realize what you're doing shouldn't be capable. And maybe we may see the Spurs do that.
Yeah.
OKC is doing it with their young core. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But let's switch over to the gridiron. Week 15 gave us a lot of injuries and some major injuries. We had Micah Parsons and we had Patrick Mahomes going down. The injury bug not only struck one team, but also a playoff contender. It killed the franchise and maybe killed some playoff contention.
Yeah.
Canty, which injury you feel like is going to have the most ripple on their team, not just for this year, but also the next coming years?
Oh, man, it's got to be the Patrick Mahomes injury. That's going to affect Kansas City for years to come. And I think what happened to Patrick was franchise malpractice. Here's what I mean by that. Patrick Mahomes was amongst the most hit quarterbacks, the most sacked quarterbacks this year. The only quarterback that had been hit more than Patrick Mahomes this season is Justin Herbert. There has been no quarterback hit more over the last 3 years on dropback passes than Patrick Mahomes. And during that same span, the Kansas City Chiefs receivers lead the league in drops, and the Kansas City Chiefs are 22nd in rushing. So let me get this right. Can't run the ball, your receivers can't catch the ball, and you can't block to keep your quarterback from getting hit. How is that a formula to take advantage of what is one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time? It's not. And what makes matters worse is that the Kansas City Chiefs saw this coming. We saw it in Super Bowl 59. That Eagles defensive line was teeing off on that Chiefs offensive line. And what does the response happen with Kansas City? They trade away the best lineman that they had on the team, which was guard Joe Thuney. He's now with the Chicago Bears. How does the Chicago Bears offensive line look? How does the Chicago Bears run game look?
Look good.
Looks damn good. And so it's just frustrating. And I get it, salary cap sport. It's not like the Chiefs haven't tried to address the offensive line. They drafted Josh Simmons. They paid tackle Jawan Taylor in free agency years ago. But just because you address it doesn't mean you fixed it. And I think they're dealing with the realities of the supporting cast, the people that they've plugged into those roles, not giving them the return on investment that they've envisioned. And as a result, Patrick Mahomes got scraped up off the ground against the LA Chargers, torn ACL, torn LCL, surgery to fix it this past week, and he's rehabbing. And the start of 2026 for Patrick is very much so in doubt. And we know, as former athletes, that even when you come back the year after an ACL, you're not quite
Not
right.
the same.
It takes a couple of years. So that's why I think this injury is going to impact the Kansas City Chiefs for the foreseeable future. And until the Kansas City Chiefs organization gets serious about putting the right supporting cast around Patrick Mahomes, we're going to have questions around why one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen can't get back to contending at the level that we saw him in the first 7 seasons of his career.
Let's talk about it this way, Canty. 2023, through 17 games, he had 389 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
Through 14 games this year, he had 422 rushing yards. He's the second rushing. He's second behind Kareem Hunt in rushing for the Chiefs this year.
That's not good.
No. That's just opportunities for bad opportunities.
Yeah.
And bad moments. You're putting your quarterback out there. And to me, it hurt to see him walk down that hallway being hobbled off past every banner he built.
Yeah.
It just gave a bad vibe. And as a guy in that locker room,
they would do more when you invest $500 million in an asset. And that's what he is. He's an asset. Like, you invest $500 million in this dude. You would think that you would do more around him to protect him and to get him to be at his best. If number 15 is at his best, I promise it's going to lead to good things for the Kansas City Chiefs. I promise. I promise, dog. I promise.
Well,
coaches, I promise.
This thing to you. So just let Patrick throw.
Coaches, I promise.
Listen, you don't have to need him running the ball now. Let's look at a light that can be very positive.
What's up?
They might mess around and get one of the best wide receivers in college football if Pat stay out next year.
Don't do that. Don't start that tank for Jeremiah Smith. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Listen, we talked about the drops.
Don't do that.
What? Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Yeah,
anything is possible.
Listen, there's a lot of good wide receivers out there. A lot. I mean, hell, there's some good wide receivers in this draft. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. That boy can go. He's a big body wide receiver, but he real twitchy, and I love it. Jordan Tyson, he can play. He can play. The Carnell Tate from Ohio State. I know everybody looking at Jeremiah Smith, but don't sleep on Carnell Tate. He can ball too. You got quite a few receivers that are coming out in this year's draft, guys that you might want to pay attention to that can absolutely go. And the Kansas City Chiefs need to do a deep dive when it comes to that, because the guys that they have on their team have proven to be unreliable. How many drops in critical moments, third downs, red zones, 2 minute, have we seen Rashee Rice make? Too many. Xavier Worthy feels like he's always banged up. Yeah, what good is a Ferrari if it's always in the shop? You know what I mean? It don't help you. You know what I mean? Hollywood Brown, same difference. Now, Travis Kelce, much respect as I have for him, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest tight ends to do it, he's washed. So you really have nothing that Patrick can rely on in terms of guys that can be difference makers at the receiver position. And then you got a shaky offensive line, and you don't have any difference makers when it comes to running back. So it's all bad for Kansas City. I mean, they need to address their pass rush too. It's an understated aspect that they got to get fixed. It's too much George Karlaftis and Chris Jones. The other guys that they have up front don't get after the quarterback. So they have some issues, and they need to break this roster down in order to build Patrick Mahomes back up. That's where we're at. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to undergo a multi-year rebuild in order to get back to where we're accustomed to seeing them.
Well, let's talk about the other injury, because this impacts the now. Patrick Mahomes impacts the future in the franchise. This impacts the now. That big trade for Micah Parsons, and he just got hurt playing them Denver Broncos. That defense, I feel like Micah Parsons was the heartbeat. He gave them a different energy. What are the Green Bay Packers going to do?
Man, the Green Bay Packers are going to have to go out there and compete. I mean, just because he got hurt doesn't stop the franchise from investing 2 first-round draft picks and Kenny Clark in order for this team to get put over the top. Now, you're not going to have the services of Micah Parsons, but you got plenty of players on the defensive side of the ball where that should still be a formidable unit. You got Edrin Cooper. You got Rashawn Gary. You got Xavier McKinney. You got Keyshawn Nixon. You got Lucas Van Ness. You got guys. And so now it's just a matter of going out there and playing good football. And that's going to be a challenge. Nobody's saying that you're not going to feel the loss of Micah Parsons. But if the quarterback and the head coach are what you think they are, then you should be able to overcome it. right? Just think back to the Green Bay Packers that won the Super Bowl in 2010 with Aaron Rodgers as a wild card. Think about all of the injuries that Packers team had to deal with. Ryan Grant, back-to-back 1,200-yard rusher, out on IR. Mark Tauscher, starting right tackle, out on IR. Jermichael Finley, tight end, out on IR. Nick Barnett, all-pro linebacker, out on IR. All of these injuries that they had to contend with. Remember, Sam Shields and Charles Woodson got hurt in the damn Super Bowl.
I was about to say that. They
got
definitely
hurt in
did.
the damn game. Think about all of these players that got hurt, dog. And guess what? It wasn't an excuse because Aaron Rodgers was what we thought he was. And Mike McCarthy was a hell of a coach. So if you got a coach that you think can get it done, if you got a quarterback that you think can get it done, those are the most important pieces. And so I can't give Jordan Love a pass, and I'm not moving the goalposts on the Green Bay Packers. You traded your future for the here and now. You decided that you wanted to go all in on this team. You mortgaged those first-round draft picks in 2026 and 2027, and you gave away Kenny Clark, who was a Pro Bowl defensive tackle. You did all of that to give this team an opportunity to contend. Just because Micah Parsons gets hurt, it doesn't change what the goal is. It doesn't change what the expectations of this team should be. It just means that it's going to be harder for all of the players that are still suiting up in uniform. That's all it means. And that's why the rest of the year, regular season and playoffs, will be a referendum on the head coach and the quarterback in Green Bay.
I'm with you, Canty. And as always, we got 99 problems, but a take ain't one.
Hey, let's go.
Listen, we're going to go through 99 problems and go through some games. We have a lot of games this week and some Saturdays. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles 9-5 versus the Washington Commanders 4-10 Saturday at 5 p.m. Who you got, Canty?
Man, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm going to say this. I don't feel great about it. Listen, everybody thinks that everything is fixed with Philadelphia because they ran the ball 40 times against the Las Vegas Raiders. Let me tell you something. The Las Vegas Raiders are the worst team in football. They are atrocious. And so I don't put any stock in what I've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles based on what they did in Week 15. They got to prove to me that they're not the team that lost 3 straight games going into that Raiders game at home in Week 15. And so that's the thing that I want to see. Can they stay with the running game? Can they convert? Can they sustain drives? And I think ultimately the answers to those questions will determine whether or not the Eagles take care of their business against the division opponent. Remember, this Washington Commanders team dropped 26 points and forced overtime against the Denver Broncos a few weeks ago. Remember, the only reason why they lost is because they decided they were going to go for a 2-point conversion in overtime, go for the win, rather than kick an extra point and go for the tie, just based on how their season had unfolded. So I will say this. The Eagles play the Commanders twice over the next 3 weeks. In one of those matchups, the Commanders are going to give them a game. Philadelphia better be careful in this spot. Could be a trap game for Philadelphia. They got a date with the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park in Week 17. This could be a classic trap game for Philadelphia.
Let's see how they show up. You know, you are who we thought you were. So let's see how they show up and how they stand out. We just got finished talking about the Green Bay Packers, but let's see if Jordan Love can actually make the right passes and the right throws against a defense that's known for the takeaways, the Chicago Bears. Who do you think is going to win that game?
Oh, man. You know what? I think that the Micah Parsons injury can be a galvanizing moment for the Green Bay Packers. And I will say this time of year, Jordan Love goes from the turnover-worthy plays type of guy to LL Cool J. Ladies love Cool Jordan. He starts dropping back to pass. He starts licking his lips, pause. Like, he starts doing all of that. Then all of a sudden, you got to start watching out because Jordan Love is feeling it. He's got those isms, and you can tell when Jordan Love is in a groove. And these are the types of games, especially against division opponents, where Jordan Love lights it up. So I'm going to say primetime game against the Chicago Bears, division up for grabs, coming off of a really tough week, road loss to the Denver Broncos, where you lost Micah Parsons, the best player on the team, where you lost Evan Williams, a damn good safety in his own right. I think that this Green Bay Packers team rallies, and they use that as a galvanizing moment, and they go out and they take care of their business against the Chicago Bears. Give me the Green Bay Packers.
Hup, listen, we got my guy Drizzy Drake going against my favorite QB, Lamar Jackson. Sunday night football is going to be fireworks. Who you got, Canty?
I'm going with the Patriots, man. I just think that they're going to find a way to bounce back. Good teams don't lose back-to-back games. I don't foresee that that's going to happen with these New England Patriots. They're still very much in it to try to get the 1 seed in the AFC playoff field. And so, and of course, they want to make sure that they win the division so they can host a home playoff game. I just don't trust what I've seen from the Baltimore Ravens. Give me the New England Patriots.
Hmm. 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 You wait. Listen, Canty's been very consistent with the Patriots, so we ain't gonna say you're a bandwagon. You've been very consistent. Nobody can say that
Yeah,
about you. You
yeah,
ain't flip
yeah.
flopping. Monday Night Football, we got the 49ers versus the Colts with a 44-year-old quarterback. Who you got?
Watch out for Uncle Phil, man. I'm just gonna say this. Watch out for Uncle Phil, man. The Colts got nothing to lose, and when a team has nothing to lose, they're dangerous. Now, on paper, it says that the San Francisco 49ers should be able to win this game going away. Christian McCaffrey is playing out of his mind. He's gonna have another season where he goes over 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. Remember, Christian McCaffrey was one of 3 players to have ever done that in NFL history, including Roger Craig and Marshall Faulk. Both of those guys only did it once. This dude is about to do it twice. So I'm going to roll with the San Francisco 49ers. Not saying it with my chest, but I think this is a team that you got to keep an eye on. This is a game that they should win. Give me the San Francisco 49ers.
Now, this actually got a good response from the followers and the listeners. Canty, give us one bonus game you think everybody should keep their eye on.
Oh, bonus game that everybody should keep their eye on. Man, I tell you, the week 16 card is stacked. I mean, I'm absolutely stacked. But if there's a game that you should keep your eye on, I'm gonna go with Jacksonville, Denver. That game is
Mm.
in Mile High Stadium. I want to see if the Jacksonville Jaguars are for real. I do. And I had a chance to talk to ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky this week. And on my show Unsportsmanlike, Orlovsky said that the job that Liam Cohen has done in terms of getting Trevor Lawrence turned around is second to none in terms of new head coach quarterback turnarounds in the NFL this season. Trevor Lawrence just went through the first 3-game span of his career where he didn't turn the football over. No picks, no fumbles lost. The first 3-game span of his career where he's ever done that. The dude has accounted for 10 touchdowns over the last 3 games. Trevor Lawrence is playing at a different level, but I want to see if it's actually for real or if it's just a byproduct of the Jacksonville Jaguars playing a really soft schedule over the last month and a half. The game against the Denver Broncos is going to tell me how seriously I should take the Jacksonville Jaguars when it comes to contending this year in the AFC.
Yeah, just don't put them on none of your tickets. Canty knew I had a lot of bad
Nah, I don't
luck
trust the
playing.
Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Don't trust them. Don't trust them.
Yeah, I can't.
Don't trust
But
them.
let's switch some gears. There's been a lot of things going on out there, just talking about the love of the game and the feelings. And I want us to give a different take and a different approach to it. And let's talk about Joe Burrow
Yeah.
and the Cincinnati Bengals. You know, a couple weeks ago, Joe Burrow discussed how pretty much right now he don't want to keep doing this if it's not fun. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but let's dissect who Joe Burrow is. Um, Winning comes from his journey from high school, college, and now in the NFL marks. Early success, Gatorade Player of the Year. He transferred to LSU where he won the Heisman as well as a national championship. And then also, lastly, in his second year in the NFL, he made it to the Super Bowl. So Joe Burrow is one of those guys that all he knows is win, 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 no matter what. But can't he? Men like us and men like Joe Burrow, I'm pretty sure he understands this, is the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in comfort or convenience, but where he stands when times are challenging.
I see you,
Do you,
MLK. I see you.
yeah, a little bit, you know, but if the season and what he's facing right now, the uphill battle, already out the playoffs, things like that, do you think that's what's shifting the love is that he's always been a winner and for the first time he has to find joy in losing?
Well, I'll say this, man. He's been beat up. He's been hit a lot. He's been on IR, I believe, 3 times in his career. 2 of those stints were season-ending injuries. He's been on the playoffs outside looking in more often than not. For a quarterback of his ilk, that should not be his reality. And I said this last year, and nobody wanted to listen to me. But I asked the question. I said, what stops Joe Burrow from being the next Ken Anderson, the next Boomer Esiason, the next Carson Palmer? MVP caliber quarterbacks that may or may not have gotten to a Super Bowl and have not been able to get back to those same heights and not had a career that flourished with the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, listen, I hate to say it's a systemic issue within the organization, but the reality of Joe Burrow is starting to feel a lot like the reality of those predecessors that played quarterback at Cincinnati before him. So I mean, I'm frustrated because I'm a football fan and I like to see Joey be out there spinning it. I like to actually watch him when he's out there doing his thing with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins when that Bengals offense is rolling. It's fun to watch. Now, granted, I was one of those guys that always rooted against them, but it's fun to make them out to be the villain. You know, I'm an AFC North guy. I play for the Baltimore Ravens, so I hate anybody not named Baltimore in that entire division.
Mm-hmm.
But I can acknowledge as a football purist that this dude is damn good. And for Cincinnati to handle him the way that they've handled him, I mean, again, it's another one of those scenarios where you feel like it's franchise malpractice.
And we talked about the war of attrition a couple weeks ago. We talked about a lot of basketball players. You had Barry Sanders ending early. You had Megatron leaving early. You had which I consider one of the best wide receivers, Sterling Sharp, due to injury
Yeah, the
leaving
neck
early.
injury, yeah.
Anybody that comes to mind that you see is kind of going down that Joe Burrow remind you of going down this path, like you feel they might call it quits if everything on the line.
Nah, I don't see Joey B tapping out. I don't see him stopping playing football. You know, and listen, not to disparage any of those other players that walked away early. It's it's a personal choice. It is deeply personal. Um, the realities of the game of football, the nature of it, it is brutal. You know, there's
Mhm.
a chance that every time you walk on the field, there's a chance that you don't walk off it. There's a chance that you never walk again. There's a chance that you might die. That is the reality of playing football, especially at this level. So, not gonna, you know, take anything away for or diminish the choices that other players have made, all-time greats walking away in the middle of their prime. It just doesn't feel like that's what this is setting up for with Joe Burrow. And so I'm curious to know what the path forward is in Cincinnati. If this is something as simple as firing the head coach and bringing in a new voice, or if Joe Burrow wants to be out of there, how does that happen? Remember, Joe Burrow has a full no trade clause, so
Yep.
whatever happens with him is
He
fully within his control. Um, but I don't think Joe Burrow is one of those people that um, will demand a trade. Now, I do think it could be this new era of athlete that never wants to be viewed in a villainous light. And maybe Joey B is waiting for the Cincinnati Bengals to want to move him as opposed to asking them for a trade. Similar to what we're seeing in the NBA with Giannis Antetokounmpo. We know he
Yep.
wants to leave Milwaukee, but he's not going to demand a trade because he doesn't want to be viewed as the bad guy. It could be a similar situation with Joey B. Remember, this dude is from Ohio, started his college football career at Ohio State. So he's got deep ties to that community in that state. I can understand why he would not want to be viewed as the bad guy. But I could also understand his frustration in thinking that he won't be able to maximize his career if he stays in Cincinnati. Because remember, you only got a finite period of time as a professional athlete to maximize playing the game at the highest level of the sport.
Now, before we get the wins and losses, I just want to ask you one quick question because I've never even asked you that in the almost 8, 9 plus years I've known you. When was the moment you looked in the mirror and you realized, yeah, I ain't 99 no more. Put the grill away.
Man, I would say I got a call in 2016, the offseason for the Indianapolis Colts, and they wanted to bring me in and they asked me what they thought my role was, and I lied to them. You know, talk that fly shit. You know, and I looked myself in the mirror and I had to ask myself, Do I really want to go through a rehab for this shoulder? And do I really want to put myself through what it takes to get my body right to go out there and do it again? And the reality is the answer was no.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Colts asked me, hey, let us know what you're thinking. Sit in it for a minute. That was a phone call that was never returned. So that's just being real. You got to be real with yourself. Because again, you're putting yourself in harm's way when you go out there on the football field. That's just the reality of it. And, I was in a position where I could, financially look back on where I was at, what I had done. I was in a position where, from a career standpoint, I could look back on what I'd done and be proud of all of it. So I walked away.
Yeah, like a lot of people say, it's better to walk away than to limp away or crawl away or be dragged away.
Yeah.
So the easiest person to lie to is yourself. So I'm happy that we didn't want to see a diminished CC. We wanted to see the real 99 problems out there. We didn't want to see the washed down version.
Nah, not at all.
Wins for the week, Canty. What you got?
Oh, man, wins for the week. You know what? I started to go with Trevor Lawrence. 6 touchdowns is hard to ignore, but I'm going a different route. I'm going with Uncle Phil, my man, old man Rivers, Phillip Rivers, 44 years old, a father, a grandfather, went out there after 5 years of not playing in the National Football League. He didn't win the game against the Seattle Seahawks up in the Pacific Northwest, but what Phillip Rivers did do was reset the clock on those NFL benefits because he's got that big family. He's got all of those kids. Guess what? Players, when they step away from football, they get 5 years of free medical coverage. And then after that, you got to buy your own insurance. Well, guess what? Phillip Rivers came back right before it stopped. And now he gets another 5 years after this. So shout out to Phillip Rivers for gaming the system. He didn't get to win against the Seahawks, but he got to win in life.
Oh, so he was crying because he knew he got some health benefits. That's why he was crying.
Oh, yeah. Get that good insurance, that NFL insurance, that good insurance. That good insurance, buddy.
Listen, a win for me is actually a win for us. We finally hit over 500 subscribers.
Hey, let's go.
Yes, sir. And just this week alone, we had over 215 plus. And just to set that benchmark, only 1 to 3% for new pages like ourselves grow month over month. We grew over 95%. So it's because of you guys listening, tuning in, enjoying us both. I appreciate it. Canty, I know you appreciate it. So the win is for you guys, the listeners, and those a part of our court. Just making sure we always represent in my defense because it ain't never enough personal. But we got some losses, though. We're going to get some losses out the way. What you got, Canty?
Man, the Carolina Panthers. How the hell you lose to a rookie quarterback and you got a situation where you could take care of your business to take a stranglehold on the NFC South? You saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose Thursday night primetime game to the Atlanta Falcons. How the hell do you let Tyler Shuck roll up on you after Tyler Shuck beat those same Buccaneers the week before? Carolina Panthers, who the hell are you? Bryce Young, Dave Canales, who the hell are you? I don't know who you are as a team. I don't know if you're actually good. I need to find out. This team is capable of losing some games to bullshit opponents. They lost, think about that. The Carolina Panthers lost to the New Orleans Saints. But these are the same Carolina Panthers that went into Lambeau and beat the Green Bay Packers. The same Carolina Panthers that beat the LA Rams a few weeks ago. So they're capable of beating what we think to be the best teams in the conference. And then you lose to the New Orleans Saints? Carolina, who the hell are you? They're my loss for the week.
Oh, listen, they lost my wallet because I definitely put some people on that ticket that definitely ain't do me right. Pause. But it ain't go. It ain't go the way I needed to go. My loss for the week is the trainers in the NFL. That's my loss of the week. We had too many major injuries, and I don't know if the game is getting a little different. A lot of soft tissues, a lot of ACLs. We got some people in fantasy this week playing fantasy football. You ain't got no Mahomes. That's a little bit of me. You don't got Devontae in the red zone giving you touchdowns. That's automatic 6 points for you in fantasy. Roma Doomsday, he might be out. You got a couple more guys on the injury bug. Ricky Pearsall, might be out. A few more people around the NFL hurt this time of year. A lot of guys need to rev up for the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers being one. The trainers in the NFL, you guys are taking my L for the week. I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know if it's rest, ice, elevation. I don't know what you guys are doing, but it ain't working right now. We need to get these guys healthy. You guys got too many soft tissues injuries for you guys to be primetime NFL players. Get your life together, brothers. Get your life together. Canty, let them know where they can find you at.
Oh, man, you can find me at ChrisCanty99 on all social media platforms. You can also find me on Sportsmanlike on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU, 6 to 10 a.m. on weekdays. And, of course, you can find me on the Unsportsmanlike social media channels as well, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places. And, of course, it's the In My Defense podcast on YouTube and on social media. Tune in. Don't miss out. We appreciate you. And, hey, that little button that says like and subscribe, go ahead and hit that for your boy. Go ahead and hit that. Go ahead and hit that.
Listen, hit the ding so when you come to the door, you hear the ring.
There
you
you
got to
go.
answer it. It's the holiday season. You don't want to not miss a package. So we want to make sure we give you guys what you need in regards to your viewing pleasures and listening pleasures. You can find me at QE_Beeman1 on all social media platforms. As I said in my wins, we really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And then something else that you guys loved was just ending it off with a little positive quote and something that Ken Griffey Jr. said. Confidence is how you go about your business. Cockiness is how you explain it to everyone else. Be a little bit more confident. Leave the cockiness at home. But let them know, tooting your own horn, it ain't never nothing personal. But in our defense,